go. Hello, Facebook, YouTube. Today is, get in here. Today is Saturday, Sabbath day. I want to do that teaching one day about it. Well, I'm going to do see if we can do a quick teaching. I want y'all to study Saturn, and you'll find out on Saturn there is a hexagon on top of Saturn. And the hexagon means a whole lot concerning the idea of the Sabbath or Saturday. Very important to understand that hexagon on top of Saturn that will probably parallel to the idea of, understanding the Metatron's cube, that, hexagon on top of Saturn. Go on Google, check it out, find out, say, wow, it's on Saturn Day, which means the rest, and they're supposed to be the day of rest, concerning the system of the hexagon. And look up a archangel named Carmel, archangel, supposed to be, the in charge of the Saturn. Well, it's not called Saturn, but men call it Saturn. They're trying to hide the darkness, and But I challenge people to research the Saturday. Supposed to be it's a Sabbath day. And watch this. Here's something that God showed me. How many Saturn Day is the only day named after one of the planets. You know what I'm saying? After one of the planets of the solar system. Sunday is the sun. Sun is not a planet. It's a star. But Saturn is the only name of the planets that are named after a day. You wonder why. The reason why is because, darkness is trying to cover up something. Yeah, they're trying to cover up the they're trying to cover up, the Sabbath, really. So you don't understand the ideal of the Sabbath, that it's supposed to be on Saturday. The Sabbath is concerning that it's supposed to be the time of restoration, restoration, of the earth, that we're supposed to, have church on, and whole lot of stuff that, I probably may share on another message, and, we just got, people are just not researching, and they just settling for, whatever the world gives them, and they accepting it, and this world perishing, and everything. They waiting for the world to really get worse, and then they'll start researching, when it's too late, how people are. But that's not really the message that I want to teach you. But it's important to understand that what the day of the Sabbath, I think I got it. Okay, God, the Spirit told me to go in and teach on the other message next. But the thing is, now I'm going to show you that the rings of Saturn is the keys of the really Saturn. The rings of Saturn is the reality of the key of the universe. You know what I'm saying? That there's Saturns in every solar system across the planet, a galaxy, or in other galaxies. There's Saturns. That everybody has every solar system has a Saturn in other places, other solar systems. And say, well, Mac, how you never been in other solar systems? But when you start learning the Metatron's cube, and teachings that it's supposed to be something that will teach you the ideal key of the universe, that you're supposed to learn concerning the tetra. I'll get in that later, because y'all probably don't know about that. But I'm going to show you that 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 when the key was open, when we opened the key, Joshua and the children of Israel was opening up the key of the universal God to that open up. See, like, the keys of heaven. Whatsoever you bind on earth is bind in heaven. Whatsoever you loose on earth is loose in heaven. There's keys, and people don't understand the keys of heaven and concerning how it operates. But what you don't know concerning Jericho was was really what the assignment that God told Joshua to do about march around the walls of Jericho, and they, that was, unlocking. He was telling him to really unlocking the divine presence of God to be manifested in Israel. That people don't know because they don't know how, they're not trying to understand how God works. Now, I'm going to show you that what the Jericho and the children of Israel did is they followed the orders of the Saturn. They followed on the Saturn, as in more like the sabbatical. I call Saturn the sabbatical planet. I call it that because that is the Saturn is the key of how, every is a gas planet that is in every, like I said, in every solar system, and how everything is the universe is ran by those rules of Saturn. Now watch this, how cool this is that God showed me. That the children of Israel marched around the walls of Jericho, they say 7 times. But really, they didn't march around the wall 7 times. They marched around the wall 13 times. Now 13, if you look up, not only it means universe, and it also means kingdom. Yeah, 13 also means kingdom, but it also means universe too. But when the children of Israel was walking around the walls of Jericho 13 times, the 13 times symbolic the 13 circles of the Metatron's cube. When you do your study of Metatron's cube, that they unlock the key of the universal, the God of the universe, to enter into Israel. And when they went down the 13th time, they said to blow the trumpets. To blow the trumpets. And then when you blow the trumpets, then when they blow the trumpets, of course, when they blow the trumpets, when Judah, is really front in line, when, the children of Israel go to battle against their enemies, Judah is in front of the line. Judah means praise. When you praise the Lord, you know what I'm saying? What happens is, the Lord gets involved in, what's going on. Lord, you unlocked. They really unlocked heaven, or the God of the universe, and his divine, angels to come down and destroy the walls of Jericho. And they crumbled. The walls of Jericho crumbled down, and the victory was established concerning God's victory was established in Israel concerning Jericho. But really, not only the victory and establishment of Israel was established, but the Jewish people unlocked the keys of the divine presence of God to come down on earth as it is in heaven, bringing heaven down on earth, more likely. And I hope I told you about that. Heaven and the universe are the same thing. It's just the universe is the natural manifestation of the heavens. It's the natural. We see in the natural, but in the spiritual, what I'm saying, the universe is light. It's like heaven is light. But that is the whole thing, and how the idea of the Sabbath day and the sabbatical rest is supposed to be established about, in that sequence was through that sequence unlocked Jesus, God of the universe, to, do it. It's for God to do it, for God to get glory. And that's what, the people don't understand about the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day is about, God's glory, God's divine glory, that God, participates in the activity concerning his angels. His angels, his divine angels participate, and that's the day of rest. Well, people don't know about the day of rest, that when God rested on the seventh day, he placed charge over, he gave his angels charge over the earth. You know what I'm saying? His archangels, were in charge over the things of the earth. And, the thing is, of course, but men was in charge of the earth, but the angels was in responsible of certain things. But when, of course, men start, building their own kingdom on earth, and got these, utilizing the divine powers, like you see Stonehenge and all these other, stone tablets, stone places that got circles around them and stuff like that. Those circles that you see around these ancient places were places that they were using to get to, that the divine power used to bring down energy, down on the earth, and they was utilizing the energy and darkening up the energy and utilizing it for, their own beings to, power and control. How the desire of humanity loves power and control, and using this power and making it the darkness. And and when it darkened the divine power, it was called dark matter that preceded black magic. Black magic. Magic. Wizards. Witches. Yeah, and they converted, the divine power and used it against each other and stuff, and fighting, in the time of Enoch, and, it was all crazy. But the thing is, the Sabbath, the sabbatical power that was, ushered in the time in Joshua, and the children of Israel brought down, the divine power of the charge of the angels to come down at the walls of Jericho, when they did the walls of Jericho. And then Joshua took the territories, and one time they lost an AI, about that story, because one of the people of Judah, took one of the, golden stuff, false images, and they had to stone the family, and it's a horrible story. But when you can't touch what's God, you can't touch what God established. You can't touch, what God, ordained. But, unfortunately, the church don't understand that reality. The church, don't respect the Sabbath, and they don't really understand the reality to what extent of the Sabbath that I'm giving you right now. And the Sabbath is on a Saturn day, but Satan, of course, or the Catholic Church, got, everybody into paganism, and, they got everybody, on naming lists and things concerning Roman, Greek mythology, and, naming all the planets after, false gods, Jupiter, Saturn, and all those people. Wrong men, Catholic Church screwed everything up and had everything hidden, so you don't see about the reality of the rest day. And got people on Sunday on Horus Day, the evil God that all the occult people are worshiping, and y'all just not trying to research and understand and find out this information to find out the truth. But this is the truth I'm trying to tell you. But the Sabbath day is on a Saturday, and it was ushered, I know people study Judaism, it was ushered in on the Monday, on the moon day, but the moon day that it started was commanded on the moon day to be done on the Saturday, because the day of the Sabbath concerning the alignment of Saturn, if you do your research. All right, I hope you got the idea of the Sabbath day, and it bless you. To God be the glory here forever.